all originated. I got a telephone call from some of the security guards at Caterpillar, and they had a bird down at their building that they had no idea what it was, and it was leaving carcasses laying around on the sidewalk, and they wanted to try to move it away because it wasn't real appetizing around there, quite honestly. So anyway, I got access to not only that building but several of the other buildings around the courthouse. And what I was looking for is a place where I knew the Peregrines were spending some time, some serious time. We came back here, we put up some brackets up on the roof, mounted this box, and by the time we got down to the first floor here, the Peregrines were standing on top of the box. So it was like, we knew it was going to be a shoo-in. What I didn't know, and this was sort of the fly in the ointment, the birds loved it here, but in the springtime when breeding season would come, they would go down to the McCluggage Bridge and set up house. As long as they were, nesting on the bridge, unfortunately that first flight for those babies is going to be in the water. And that's the problem with any bridge nesting peregrines. And there's a few of them out there, and it's always the same results. The babies end up in the water and we lose them. So that's why this is pretty exciting that they finally moved to a building, downtown where they are protected. And she would, and I sort of figured out when they might be hatching. Went up there and looked, and I missed the day by maybe 3 or 4 days. She had little babies underneath her. It was so cool to see. And then we backed out. I called Amy from the Raptor Resource Project and said, we've got babies finally. I said, we've got to get these guys banded. But the benefit of banding these guys is because they are a highly migratory bird, we can, all we got to do is look through a spotting scope, and you can see the bands are very, very visible with the colors and with the numbers that are on there. You can go through the database, the bird database, through any of the historical societies. These are registered federal markers that we just put on them. So you can access that database to find out exactly where those bands are. So we know these birds came from Peoria, Illinois. So whether these birds might end up, who knows? They could end up in California, they could end up in Texas, they could end up in Minnesota, Canada, Florida. I mean, they could end up anywhere. And just by looking at those bands, we know exactly where those birds were raised.